Okay, we just got off the shuttle and now we're going to walk up by the mine. Okay, we're walking down towards the Kennecott Mines through the existing town that's left. Some of the buildings have been restored. Oh, I think we lucked out. It's not raining. It's supposed to rain all day today. I think we got kind of lucky, hey, Steve?
Yep. Hopefully it holds off.
I love all the red and white. Maybe that's why I liked all the pictures of this mine, because it's the same colors as our house.
Yeah.
Just so attractive against the hillside. It really stands out. It's like we're looking around, our heads on a swivel in every direction. We have to watch for these potholes that we're walking. So here's the lodge where people actually come out here and stay. So this was the school, the new school. This says private cabin.
Watch for the potholes and fall into them.
Yeah, they're pretty deep. Another one that says this
private.
building here is the bunkhouse. Evidently the miners would stay here dormitory style. Probably part of their wages was to stay in a bunkhouse. Sure you don't fall in that trap door. There. I'm kind of watching you, Steve.
Yeah, I guess so.
Here, the restoration for these buildings, part of the National Park Service. So what's this one? Okay, this one here is the refrigeration plant. And this here was the general store, the post office, and what else?
General store warehouse.
Oh, and the warehouse.
Yeah.
This building was restored in 2006. You could buy fabric, pillows, galoshes, and boots. Lifebuoy soap. And some of the products. If you're lucky, you could afford some enamel pots. Wonder how many women stood here and wished they would have enough money to buy those things. You know, what was a important thing like here? Necessities and luxuries. And what did you need to get through till the next payday? lighting. The bins for buying in bulk. So this place was built in 1917, and our house in Chilton was 1914. But a lot of the same beautiful features, a quarter sawn oak and the bins for purchasing bulk, like our flour bins. The old worn floors.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, no safety equipment, just, yeah, that's crazy.
There's the back side of the post office. The bags would come in and they would sort. Here's all the individual little boxes. Just like when I was a kid in Caspian, we had this in our we were P.O. Box number 2, and the numbers were only 1 through 10. We were 7, 2, 6.5 was our combination. And that's how we got our mail. We also knew 2 of our neighbors' combinations, because we would pick up the mail for the neighbors. We kids would drive down on our bikes and pick up the neighbors' mail for them. Excuse me, can I have 3 1-penny stamps, sir?
Let me see if I can find any.
Well, this old wood tongue and grooved beadboard. I admire that parts of the displays are the construction and the textures and the materials used. Look at these floors, worn down from all those years. Look at the heating pipes. So there were the children, the wives, the working women for things like nursing, camp workers that were storekeepers, postal workers, cooks, launderers, management staff, and then the actual mine workers, and then the mill workers. Oh, that's part of their tour. We can't go on that. Oh, I thought that was the tour.
At the top of the Copperfield Ridge, miners blasted 5 mines and connected them with 7 miles of tunnels. They built 3 miles of aerial trams to bring the copper down from the mountain. The mining town of Kennecott sprouted up and would eventually support 20 families and hundreds of workers. The Kennecott Mines Company had to contend with one final challenge. The copper coming down the trams was mixed in with limestone, which had no value. A typical piece of ore coming down the tram might have contained 40% copper and 60% limestone. Moving the rock by train and steamship was expensive, and the company couldn't afford to ship the limestone along with the copper. They had to devise a way of separating the copper from the limestone. For this, they built a 14-story concentration mill that still towers over the town of Kennecott. The mill is a maze of chutes, ladders, and mysterious machinery. It's full of winding catwalks and creaky floorboards. If you look hard enough, you can still
This here was all warehouse area of all the bins and all the rooms. Steve says, here's a building that didn't make it. What is it on your map? What had been here?
Maybe this is the building that they first tried to tore down. You know, they said they tore the building.
Yeah, well, somebody was hired to come and start tearing this whole place down, and instead they just stripped it of anything of value and didn't finish the job
This was the sawmill.
before the park took it over. Okay. It's wonderful that the park's been able to take it over and restore it. Steve's hanging out in the toilet for a little bit, so I have a chance to do some tourist photo landscape. This is inside of the train depot. Over here's an old teletype machine. The pipe from the wood stove. That was kind of pretty with the hammered brass or tin surface on that trunk. This is the train depot. Steve noticed the train tracks are still built right into the decking here. Buildings are being restored and stabilized. There are two of the bunkhouses back there, and this was the hospital building. And then up here was the supervisor's office. So we could see everything that was going on. Seeing everything that goes in and out of the mill. What a view. This kind of gravelly mountainous area between us and the mountains, all these bumps, that was all glacier. And years ago in the early 1900s, that glacier was so high you couldn't even see those mountains. That's how much it's melted in 100 years. So there's still ice underneath all those gravel pointy bumps and ridges, deposits of stone and silt. There's still ice underneath there. That's all part of the Root Glacier. Now this building here that's falling apart is called the leaching building. And this is where they leached away the limestone from the copper. so they could ship out the copper, the pure copper then. Look at the stuff that was up in the storage areas. As the roof deteriorates, you can see these big curled up hunks of chain or belt drive or something.
Extra parts.
Extra parts, as Steve says. Extra parts. So on the left is, what did it say? The sacking, leaching, and for processing, and the power plant. And on the right is the actual rock crushing area and milling area. And here's the old railroad ties right here embedded in the gravel. And the train cars went right through this building. Some of these materials are here from the Park Service that's restoring this. Trapdoor. Don't fall in.
There's no barn swallows or bats or anything.
Yeah. Well, it's early in the season. Look at all the leftover supplies and equipment. Everything just got left, and the people were told to leave. They said, last train out, you're done, we're closing down.
Copper motors.
Yeah. These loaded into the train cars. Here's old copper gravel with verde green on it.
Okay, I could find pieces of copper.
Mm-hmm. There are tours that'll take you up into the higher regions of the rock crushing process up overhead. But we opted not to take one today. Trying to imagine life here 100 years ago when people were working here. This was their livelihood, their only world, their only life. They were basically stuck up here either working or the wives and children of people who were working. And this was your whole world right here. These few buildings and the treacherous, awesome, horrible storms of the winters blowing down off the mountains. It was a pretty secluded life, I would believe. Just walking around here and feeling the history and the almost the energy and the vibration of the dreams and the travesties and the tears and the hard work. Just putting myself in the position of, trying to have a family out here. I mean, I know a lot of the workers were single men staying in the bunkhouses, but there were families here and there was a school, and I'm sure it was very difficult to try and get by and get along and to create your own life and your own existence. And how hard it was. You were like subjected to whatever the mill decided, or the mine, and you did. That's how they got the ore down aerial tramways out of the mountains. And it traveled all the way down. And these were all underground tunnels. Throughout the mountains. There's a whole network of underground tunnels. And here is the Mother Lode Mine, which is the one that they were talking about trying to open up again for mining. Here's all the different layers. Okay, now we're walking into the power plant. Built in 1911 to 1917 and rebuilt after 1924. There was a fire. Wow. Just imagining the noise of the machinery.
I wonder, I think what they ran on must have been, I don't know, coal. I'm guessing coal.
Yeah, I'd assume they look like they'd be coal burners. I can't imagine it running on wood because there's not enough wood. So yeah, it'd have to be coal for
Those
fuel.
are big, 3 big furnaces.
Yeah,
Actually, 4 big furnaces.
yeah.
And then steam, hit the steam, and steam would give them
The power.
the electrical power and the heating.
Yeah. Here's Alice Chalmers' company over there on the machine out of Milwaukee, where Steve's grandpa worked.
Yep.
Yep. See, that's your connection.
Yeah.
Maybe your grandpa helped forge some of that, create some of that. What years did he work there, do you think?
I do not remember.
Steve observed that the smokestacks had to be built so high up because of the downdraft created by being built into the mountainside here to get a decent enough draft so it didn't smoke down and so the chimneys would draw properly. It's interesting. I guess I didn't think of that. So what's down here, Steve?
Oh, that's a good question.
He's got the map. I think the assayer's office or something, wasn't it?
Private cottages.
Oh. These are the big, huge storage tanks for the fuel oil to run that. To run those big, huge boilers inside. And they were run on fuel oil. Isn't that something? Hey, you, what you doing there?
Window peeking.
Oh. Steve's admiring things like this heavy-duty cable. Stuff like that are the things he notices. Steve's guessing these big, thick cables are for the trolleys within the mines themselves, down underground. These are the fabric bags from 100 years ago that we think were all discarded in this pile of the bags that didn't work properly or ripped or tore. After the copper was leached down and made into pure copper. It was shipped out in these fabric bags on railroad cars, flatbed cars. So these must be the bags that didn't pass the test and had been used too many times, so they threw them out here. So these bags are over 100 years old, sewn and stitched together. Look at that. Repaired. And now laying out here in a pile of junk. Notice the wavy glass on all the original glass of this building. Way up high. Well, we think we've seen everything. And it's time to say goodbye to Kennecott. It was really interesting. Let's see what the next adventure is going to bring. Were you a good boy?